Hey there, this is Matt with State of Flux here with a review for Howl's Moving Castle, continuing on my look back at the works of Studio Ghibli. This is a film by Hayao Miyazaki, and in an interesting way, it's not one of his cleaner efforts. It's kind of a messy film, narratively speaking. It's trying to accomplish a lot, but it doesn't have the streamlined focus that his films usually have. But that's not to say that it's not brilliant. In fact, this might be one of my all-time favorite works of Studio Ghibli and the man himself. It's an interesting film, a complex one, while also being incredibly simple. And it has a couple other curious qualities that separate it from your traditional Ghibli work. Studio Ghibli, especially through the works of Hayao Miyazaki and Takahata, his creative partner, and other director of many of these films, kind of are known for making sort of strong feminist stances, at least in the time periods that these films were made. And this film, I'm not saying it's not a feministic story, but it's utilization of a character who falls under pretty standard or traditional gender norms, i.e. a woman who is there to take care of the house and brings and unites this family of self-built family together, is kind of more traditional than you see from these characters. And yet, her voice and her agency in the character of Sophie is never in question, and I find it kind of compelling, and I think that is what makes it kind of a uniquely feminist take, where you can have a woman with very traditional structured gender normative position within a family and still have a strong feminist thesis to build upon in that. I like that suggestion, but I do find it unique, because usually his characters, particularly with Miyazaki, has the female-driven leader of the film utilized in a way that isn't traditional in a lot of senses, especially for the time periods with which the movies are made. And I find that really interesting and compelling. But what makes this movie so good isn't the narrative, isn't what it's trying to say. It's the unique characters and how they manufacture a life together. Howl is kind of a vain character. He's not particularly likable, but he has quality to him that makes him kind of magnetic. And that's the whole idea of him. But there's a softness there that is guarded and not allowing himself to show, particularly in the face of great doom and war that's happening abroad that he keeps involving himself in. And he makes for a compelling, kind of enigmatic character that's looming all around every aspect of the film. You have Sophie, who I've already discussed, and I think she is just absolutely captivating. I'm obsessed with how she is portrayed as an aged old woman, Grandma Sophie, and I like how she is portrayed when she's youthful. And she never quite attains those young, youthful looks that she had at the beginning of the film. The spell, well broken by the end of the film, hasn't left her changed, and they show that visually with how her hair is shown throughout the context of the film. You have the character of Markle, who is a unique one, and my daughter near died laughing when he did like that hood thing and became an old grumpy man. And my daughter was laughing so hard at that just like captivated her imagination, and she's like, I want that hood. I was like, I'm sure we could manufacture something like that. But these characters are great, but none of them are great as Calcifer, who's the other component to Howl's Moving Castle. And similar to everything about the movie, if the fire doesn't work, the movie doesn't work. And yet, this character is brimming with so much life and energy and humor and infuses everything with just this quality that makes it absolutely captivating from front to back. I love the character of Calcifer. He might be my favorite individual character created by Howl. The Witch of the Waste trying to capture Howl's heart is an interesting notion that kind of leads to a relatively rushed ending. However, it works, and that's where they kind of vocalize the message of the film, especially in the American dubbed version, which I really like. I think Christian Bale is a perfect choice to voice Howl. He does a great job. I like Emily Mortimer and Gene Simmons, not like the rock star, but Gene Simmons, the voice of older Sophie, and the PETA from the Hunger Games. Josh Hutcherson is great as Markle. Billy Crystal, fantastic. He has some really good out-of-pocket comments that I'm sure were ad-libs that he really sells. If not, he does so naturally they feel as if they're ad-libs, which is what you want in comedy. He's great. But yeah, I'm singing the praises of this film quite a lot, which is all good and great, but like, when dissecting what this movie's kind of about, it's all over the place in its timeline and its context, this war that's looming that you don't really know what it is or why it is, why this turnip head thing keeps showing up. Also, for a character that doesn't speak, he is just brimming with life and energy. It's great. I loved the turnip head. But how that all ultimately plays into it, and this soft romantic beat that they try to just toss in at the end that kind of just gets dismissed and thrown away is unique. These are all things that are like firm criticisms of the movie. They're like, why are these things here? What is going on? And yet, the movie works in spite of it, because there is so much going on that you can view this movie from multiple different prisms many times over, and there's always new stuff to kind of find or establish food for thought. It almost in some ways feels unfinished, and you're left there to finish it or flesh it out, but not in a way that feels lazy, as in like my complaints about Prometheus is that it asks all these questions, and all these questions are pretty abstract to begin with, but it doesn't provide any answers, and it leaves you piecing it together. And I'm not the filmmaker of that movie. I shouldn't have to piece that movie together. This isn't that. This film feels complete, but there is like this quality to it, and as I say, it has like a more messy narrative that it allows for me to engage with it a little more than I think it was initially intended. And yet it makes it for a very watchable film. It's kind of perplexing to me, but I really, really love Howl's Moving Castle. It's one of my favorite films of the whole Ghibli lineup. I can't wait to see where it ultimately falls when I do my ranking video at the end of all of this. But right now, it's way up there. I've talked to several people who this is like their favorite Ghibli film. I've said this in a lot of my videos, but this one pops up quite a bit too. And it makes sense. It's beautiful. It's not quite as breathtaking as Spirited Away or Princess Mononoke were in their conventional sense or its scope. But there are some dazzling visuals and some simple ones too that like titillate the eye in very positive ways. It's a very inviting film where you're just constantly trying to drink in everything that you're seeing happening on screen. But yeah, I'd take a bullet for that fire. He's great, and the whole message of the importance of having a heart and how it kind of warms the soul and how it's visually represented through the character of Calcifer is fantastic. Love the movie. 4 stars. Let me know what you thought of this film in the comment area down below. Up next we'll be talking, I believe, Tales of Earthsea, which I'm really interested in because I have thoughts. So we'll revisit that in a week or so's time. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Peace!